this video, I want to discuss three different shaders: the BSL Shader, the Sonic Ether Ptgi Shader, and the Voyager Shader. I think they give a different feel depending on your mood. The BSL is a little bit more conceptual if you're into that. The Voyager and Btgi Shader are both really realistic looking in comparison to the BSL. You can notice I'm using a resource pack to enhance the shader experience. In this case, I'm using the Patrix resource pack. You can find them and support them on Patreon if you'd like. Throughout the video, I'll explain how the different shaders respond to different weather conditions, how they respond during daytime and nighttime, next to the water, whether you're next to different textures and whether it's a shiny texture or a flat matte texture. Obviously, we're using a resource pack, so it's not basic vanilla, but you'll see how the different shaders respond to the Patrick resource pack. Built for the Ptgi Shader, the three shaders still respond pretty well, and it's nice to see how the different shaders respond to the Patrick resource pack in different ways. Alright, I wanted to compare the Ptgi renderer shader with the Voyager shader. I think both of them are really nice, and one thing that I think is interesting is how they both react with water. I think the Voyager is actually a little bit nicer than the Ptgi renderer. Like right now, this is the Ptgi. You can kind of see that the water's not as clear. Alright, so let's change this to daytime. The light's coming in. You can see that the volume lighting is coming through. It's quite nice. You can kind of see that sun looking through. You see all types of refraction underwater. Very nice. Much better than just the vanilla Minecraft. So let's go ahead and change it up and change it to Voyager. Right around here. You can see that's a lot more dramatic now. You got this volumetric lighting as well coming through. You kind of see the sun a little better. Especially when you're underwater, you can see that the sun is kind of piercing through the water. It's very nice. Pretty realistic, very photographic. And yeah, just look at the water. I mean, to me, I think it beats out the Btgi renderer in terms of water reflection. You can actually notice the sun's reflection here. I believe Ptgi you can see as well, but I'm about to change this to nighttime. You're going to notice that the night renderer with this as well is pretty nice with water. So let's go ahead and change the time. Alright, so now that we're at nighttime, you can also notice the moon's reflection similar to the sun. With a little bit of refraction. It's actually quite nice. Let's go down into the water. It's not as nice as the daytime, but it's still quite nice. I mean, the moon and Voyager shader is really nice. I mean, that's obviously a little bit more realistic. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch up the shader to the Btgi shader and see how that compares. There we go. You can notice that the moon is blocky, kind of vanilla Minecraft-like. The water seems to be pretty much the same. It's a lot brighter, not as dark as the Voyager, which might be a preference depending on how you like playing. Water underwater kind of seems the same as Voyager in my opinion, but nonetheless, it's pretty nice. Both kind of feel the same during the nighttime. You're not getting a refraction from the moon, unfortunately. At least not that I can find. I don't see the refraction or reflection of the moon, I should say. Let's go ahead and compare what it looks like in BSL. Alright, so here's BSL. You notice that you're also getting the reflection of the moon back on the water. Let's go underwater right here. It's pretty clear. It's not as realistic as either the Ptgi shader or the Voyager shader, but it is still quite nice. I think there's something pretty beautiful and conceptual about the BSL renderer, or shader I should say. It's quite nice. You can notice that the moon is also blocky. You're getting some nice lens flare or some volume lighting coming through. We do have the Patrix resource pack on for example here, and it's quite nice. So let's compare this to some of the other two, the Ptgi and the Voyager. You're gonna notice there's not too much reflection here. Let's go ahead and change it to the Ptgi first. Alright, here we go. Here is the Ptgi shader at night. You notice the material is a lot more reflective. Look at that iron plate right there. The gold is going to be reflective if you get closer to it. Here we go. With the light glowing onto the gold. You notice it's pretty reflective. Let's go ahead and change this to the Voyager so you can check it out at night as well. Alright, so here's Voyager. Sun looks like it's about to rise. Still nighttime, no moon, kind of the horizon back there. But you can notice that the reflections aren't as nice, it's a bit grainier than the Btgi, and that's probably because the Patrix resource pack is not meant for the Voyager shader, it's really just meant for the Ptgi shader. But regardless, it's quite nice, and sun's coming up over here. We'll probably switch it up to both BSL and the Ptgi in a second, but you know, you're still getting some nice reflections. I actually really like the Voyager shader. I think it's got a nice cinematic look. The contrasts are much sharper in my opinion than Ptgi. Ptgi has a much more washed out look in my opinion. And here we go, this Ptgi. It's much brighter. You can see that the texture maps even in the day seem to work nicer. The resource pack seems to be less grainy than what it was with the Voyager, which is nice. Again, it's built for the Ptgi shader, not for Voyager. You know, as it rains, you can notice the Ptgi shader does a really great job with showing the reflections of the water as soon as the rain starts hitting. Look at that. You can also go ahead and change this to nighttime. So the night and the rain, the Ptgi shader and the Patrix resource pack seems to be like a really good combination. Alright, so this is the BSL renderer with the Ptgi Shader. Again, not meant for a BSL shader, that resource pack, but I just wanted to show the difference in how, you know, water reflects or bounces off. You're not really getting any puddles anymore. Maybe a little bit of shine, but not much. Again, but this could be a preference if you like it this way. Again, you'll notice the metal panels are not shining. Alright, so let's look at the BSL shader during the daytime. You'll notice, again, the volume lighting is very, very good. Just feels like a nice cinematic conceptual look I'm a fan of. I think this is a great shader, especially if your computer graphics card isn't super powerful. Alright, so those are the three shaders I like using. The Ptgi shader, the BSL shader, and this is the Voyager shader. I think those in combination with the Patrix resource pack, pretty good combination. You can switch it up depending on your mood. And that's pretty much it. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, bye.